आलोक गायब हो गया.
Okay, so already put it live on Facebook.
No, I was just setting up the Facebook.
पल्लव देख रहा है, आलोक का जो बैकग्राउंड है वो देख के लग रहा है कि वो एक ग्लोबल कंपनी चला रहा है. हम लोग तो
I
मतलब
know. That is exactly what I told him. I actually like this concept of virtual Zoom. Yeah. I think this will become the new normal. जैसे पहले people would wear your ties and suits and fancy bags. The virtue signaling, this becomes a new virtue signaling, your virtual backgrounds in Zoom.
हाँ, ये बनाना पड़ेगा यार. It's important. वो क्या वो ग्रीन वगैरह लगा के करना पड़ता है ना, ग्रीन.
No, it's very easy. Just go to the video thing and choose virtual background. You can put any virtual background. You don't need a green background. Nothing is required.
नहीं क्या?
Nothing. It's just a banner.
Okay.
It's just एक banner है.
Okay. Enter full screen. Edit. Edit में आएगा क्या?
Choose virtual background. Yeah. Then you have an option to upload.
Stop video या start video वाले button के जो next arrow है वहाँ पे you have choose virtual background and then you have to select just tick the green screen option and I have a green screen either if you have or not and then just select a background.
In fact, there are more than 100 backgrounds for Zoom customized also. This is which I have prepared for myself, but there are other backgrounds also. So Abhishek is now in US basically.
ये तो पूरा वो आ गया यार, कवर कर दिया, चेहरा खराब कर दिया इसने तो.
So it depends. कुछ background light पे भी depend करता है. There are other factors also. So we will start. I think we are at 5 and we'll start and we go live. So hi everyone. We have Pallav of Fusion Charts and we have Abhishek of IndusNet Technologies. Two of my favorite entrepreneurs. I really admire them because the way they have built their businesses. And today we will discuss about various factors and various things around building a sustainable business, more so in this difficult time. And we will take up questions also. So if you have any question, you can ask, you can just raise your hands and we will enable your voice. We are also going live on Facebook. So if you have any queries, you can comment the question at the Facebook also, and we will take it up from there. So hi Pallav, hi Abhishek. To start with, let me just understand your views in terms of how do you see the situation, the current situation. More so when people are talking a lot about external environments, they feel that दुनिया में ये हो रहा है, US में ये हो रहा है, Italy में ये हो रहा है, but really people don't think about the internal environment in terms of what they should do for their businesses, what they should do for their employees, what they should do for their clients. So I think that perspective is very important. We always look outside and we don't think what we can do for our business at this point of time. So Pallav, to both of you, what's your perspective in terms of looking inside, looking within your company at this situation? Pallav can start.
Sure. So I think, so first thing, while I'm not being insensitive about the topic, it is what it is. And we have to accept that fact that the world is not going to be the same. There will be a lot of new things which will be normal. What we are now thinking is a short-term phenomenon might be there forever. Like maybe we'll not have office handshakes. Maybe we'll not have office meetings. Maybe the guy who cuffs in the office suddenly gets barred from the office for the next 2 weeks. We don't know what is going to happen. And a lot of these changes are going to come, and it has come suddenly. I mean, it's the first time where the world economy there has been a pause button on the entire economy. We're not just talking about the financial sector, we're talking about production, manufacturing, food, practically everything. So either we can be, initial few weeks, everybody was like anxious and sad and like completely confused. But now everybody's sort of getting back saying that, hey, this is a normal. So rather than looking at this as, hey, there's a problem, what do we do about it? Can we look at it slightly differently and say, this is a feature? Let's say, is this the demonetization moment of the SaaS industry, of the tech industry? The lucky part, and I'm assuming a lot of the attendees here are in the tech industry. We are very lucky in that sense. We are in the tech industry. We deliver digital goods. We can sit at home and work. Most of us don't have to worry about food on the table. We have a shelter to live in. Imagine if you are a hotelier or if you are a retailer, you can't do any of this. So given that we already have some of these things going for us, we have to look at it from a feature perspective, and we have to see what are the things we need to do internally. So first thing is, do we need to look internally? Definitely yes. We have to take stock of everything. The good thing is, I'm assuming a lot of the attendees here are from Calcutta, and Calcutta hasn't caught the, let's say, the Silicon Valley bug of valuations and delusional or vanity metrics. Everybody still thinks dhanda, and that's a good thing that separates these set of entrepreneurs. And everybody who started the businesses from Calcutta, they typically talk about top line and bottom line with a stress on the bottom line, which means all of you have some cash left in the bank unless you're starting. You are capitalized to an extent. How do you use that to the benefit? So it's a period of survival, no doubt. So the point I was making about dhanda, we clearly know revenue is not equal to cash flows. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is reality. Very simple. Unless cash hits the bank, that is not your money. So first is internal checks. Is your AR due? How many customers owe you cash? Which of those customers are in trouble? Which of the customers even in your revenue will be in trouble? Can you create cohorts of that and say, hey, these are the big customers, they are in an industry which is not troubled, versus these customers who will be troubled? Can I call them up and ask, hey, can I help you in any way? Can I get my money? Can I stagger those out? Can I improve my internal processes? If I have a lot of, like, if I'm growing very fast, typically you throw people at the problems and you don't think of systems, processes. Now that the velocity of the product development may be slow, you might be able to pull some of those resources into fixing technical debt, which is in your products or technologies, fixing your internal processes, upskilling of people, whether it's sales certification, better sales processes. You may be looking at completely moving your field sales to inside sales, because anyways you can't go on the field right now, and most of the customers, if at all they are buying, they are okay coming on the call. And this is right from SMBs to mid-market to CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies. They're getting used to the new reality. Hey, let's get on a Zoom call. Like the earlier reality was, I'm in your city, let's meet for a coffee, and you waste one full day for one cup of coffee and that 1 hour meeting. Now
No,
it's like 5 minutes.
so I realized that I was just wasting my time when I was traveling all the way. We can have all the meetings from Zoom. Why the hell we was traveling?
Exactly, and
So
that's a new normal. That's good. That's potentially going to be the new normal. We are seeing yoga classes. My wife does yoga classes on Zoom. Kids are getting sent videos because schools are closed. People were like, "Why the hell do I need to go out and meet people?" Some of those will definitely be there, let's say, for the relationship building, but a lot of these things will change. So we know there's going to be new normal. How are you going to adapt to this new normal? Bunch of your processes internally has to change. The outlook internally has to change with respect to this, and there will be a bunch of positives, which is where I said, not meaning to be insensitive, but rather than looking at this as a bug, can we look at this as a feature, given that we as digital companies are capable and we are very well placed to do that?
This is the time to work on your processes. This is the time to, as some say, this is the time to repair your net when you are not able to go to the sea for fishing. So,
Which is true.
So Abhishek, coming to you, what's your view?
I think, you don't worry about what you don't control, right? So I think here you don't control most of the things that's happening around you. So
Yeah.
let's not try to worry about that, waste our time in the negativity of different news that's coming to you. I think you should definitely be aware of what's happening. And I think you
Yeah.
should also try to find out the positive side of everything that's happening. So for example, which industry is going to grow? What are the opportunities that are evolving? Whenever we see a crisis, be it financial crisis or any of such crisis, something new comes up. So if you think about 2000 crisis, right, when the dot-com burst took place, there were new business models that came all together, right? And you talk about 2008, right? Around that, we had this mobile, and the entire world moved to mobile, and you see a lot of innovation that happened around that, and new
Yeah.
opportunities that came out, right? Now, people don't lose because there has been a crisis. People lose because they are not able to encash on the opportunities that come out of crisis. Because every crisis is going to set few things into a different dimension altogether. How are you going to react to it is all that matters, right? I think I get so many quotes every day. There are quotes like, it's 5% what happens to you and 95% how you react to it. But I do not know how many people really follow that or really believe in that, right? I think it's all about believing that yes, 95% is about your reaction, and reaction will only happen in a positive way if you try to see the positive side of the news. So for example, I think there is a huge opportunity coming up in, if I just look at my sector, because frankly speaking, I have been extensively thinking about my own sector, because that itself is so huge that I can't really think about other sectors right now. So if I see in that sector itself, there's e-education, e-healthcare. Decisions that were taking years and years and decades actually to take by the government have been taken in weeks, right? For e-health, right, government was waiting for a decade. There was no decision taken. Now the government has signed up a bill in 7 days time. Now you can
Yeah.
actually do e-health, right?
So you're indirectly answering a question which I got just now in terms of what are the sectors which will do very well post COVID and will have positive impact of COVID-19.
I think there's a lot of research out there. Again, I don't say that I believe in all the research, but I think you have to apply your own thoughts about what you feel is going to work, or what you feel is not going to work. So, for example, and what is your strength, So again, trying to apply the formulas of Ikigai and all those beautiful formulas which are there, those Venn diagrams which kind of tells you what to do. You can try to figure out that what you should do, but definitely opportunities will be massive because it will reset the whole world, as Pallav rightly said, right?
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
whole reset is happening, you are again at the same starting line as many of the other players. And when you are at the
yeah.
same starting line, then you don't have an excuse to say that, boss, I was sidelined, or I was pushed on the side because I didn't had a big company, or I didn't had an invention in my hand. Now, a lot of other inventions have been null and void now. You have to do things from scratch in many cases. So, I mean, I think it's the moment, in my opinion. So I would like to see on the positive aspect of this whole thing, especially more for technology entrepreneurs or any entrepreneur where physical interaction is not key.
Yeah.
Like, for example, people have been talking about in a lot of presentations from large IT companies. I was told that retail has been removed as a sector they want to target. And I would say
Okay.
crazy. I would say that if I have to target, I would go after retail like crazy, because I think if everyone is moving out of retail, this means there's a huge opportunity in retail tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they are worried about the disruption that's happening, and their companies are not built to handle the disruption. And that is exactly where startups and mid-sized companies have to come and really encash the disruption, because the problem with them is that they don't have the capacity to digest that and act on it. But smaller businesses can, because we are agile, and we don't have to answer anyone. They have to answer a lot of other people, right? Because there are too many stakeholders. Here you can think of that, okay, if retail is getting disrupted the way it is, what can we do about it, and how can we create a product or offering that changes the whole game? So I think there's a huge opportunity out there.
May-
That's
Maybe, may, maybe larger companies have too much to lose. We as a small companies, we were frugal and we can do what we want to at a fast pace.
that's
Uh,
right.
uh, at an immediate stage in terms of financial triage or urgency which has come to entrepreneurs, I mean, what are the key factors, key things which an entrepreneur could do at this point of time? I'm just addressing to small and medium-sized businesses, which they can do to avoid immediate financial liability at this point of time, which you guys have done in your business in the last 2 to 3 weeks to ensure that things don't go out of hand.
Sure. So the most important thing, at least in my opinion, is scenario planning. So this is not a time where you can even forecast a quarter ahead what's going to happen. So everything is like on a 2 week or a 4 week rolling basis, and all the plans are getting adjusted. Like all the annual plans are already in the trash bin. For some companies, actually, they're growing very fast, like online education, online games. For some companies, they're taking a small hit, but a bunch of companies are serving industries like travel, entertainment, retail, which are almost literally seeing zero revenue or near zero revenue. So first is the annual plans have gone for a toss. There is no certainty of that. Even the quarterly plans are a provisional or a pro forma plan. So you're looking at 2 to 4 weeks ahead. Second is you do scenario planning, like especially if you're a bootstrap company or you're a capital efficient company and you don't have access to unlimited capital. Essentially, I look at 3 or 4 scenarios, three more realistically. What if you don't get any more customers? You have to live with the revenue that you have, and maybe there's a small churn out there. What if you get some more customers, but with a much lower velocity? Or C is where you're in a good shape, where you're still growing and growing at the pace that you're looking at. So if you're not getting any more customers, your current model is built to grow. Can you either cut that flap and lay off is not something which I'm saying that's the only way. There are other ways to look at that as well. Or can you figure out a way to realign those functions, those people, those things to generate additional revenue, which either can happen through customer communication, figuring out more customers' problem to solve, but essentially not just doing random shots in the dark, but saying, hey, I have this 100 customers or 1,000 customers. I am solving problem P1. Can I talk to them to find another problem P2? See, even right now, customers are buying. I mean, take for simple example, while there's a recession, everybody's paying for Zoom. People are paying for the Salesforce. They may be downsizing the number of seats. So there are mission critical applications. There are much needed applications. So it's not that the world has stopped buying software. It's just that people have either started downgrading the number of seats, or if you are not a painkiller, you're a vitamin, people are sort of rethinking. So how do you move from a vitamin to painkiller in that sense? So
Yeah.
these scenario planning in the sense helps you at least understand. So assume, and we have to take a more conservative estimate that in the next 12 months, things may or may not improve. And even 12 months is a is something which is unknown. It may extend beyond 12 months. So the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
goal is survival. What do you need to do to survive 12 months? What are the different scenarios? And every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, go and see which scenario are you in. Have you acquired a new customer? If not, you are still in scenario 1. Have you acquired a new customer? Then yes, you are in scenario 2, where you said, okay, I've got this little bit extra cash now. Should I go and put this in marketing or product development? And those are more nuanced understanding. 3 is where some of the companies might be, and that's a good place to be in, where you're still growing as per your plan or even faster. I think in that case, this question is not even relevant to you.
Yeah. Abhishek?
So I think, I was recently just reading about value chain and value chain optimization just a month and a half back. And it seems like, I have been put in an exam for that whole learning that I was doing. So, I think we need to kind of understand what our value chain is. This means that who are your customers and who are your customers' customers. Similarly, who are your suppliers and who are your suppliers' supplier. And in both the cases, how things will change at both the ends. I think it's very, very critical to understand. So similarly, for example, when we talk about our customers, we actually, before this whole crisis hit, and again, I would not say it was any divine intervention. It was just that I was reading about it and I thought, let's do this exercise. And we did this exercise where we figured out what is our customer's customer requirement and how important they are, and what is the retention possibility, what is the risk that our customer bears about losing their customer. Because if they lose their customer, obviously their capacity to pay us will go down, right? So this whole planning was done at that point of time, and that has helped massively, because now we know what percentage of our business is at what level of risk. So until and unless we know what percentage of business is at risk, you cannot do scenario planning, right? So you need to understand that where you stand today. Also on the supply side, where you stand, what talent you can get, and how can you handle the talent that is in your house. And when you have both the supply side and the demand side data and the risk at two levels coming out to you, I think you have a very interesting way to model it out, to figure out that what you should do and what you should avoid. I mean, it has worked amazingly well for us. In fact, we have been able to even plan to a level where we know that, we are all set for April. We have no problem for April. When the May comes, we will start looking at our data points again somewhere in the beginning of April. In the first 7 days, we will know where we stand. And based on that, we will be able to take calls that should we keep hiring or not. So we are not even talking about laying off people. We will possibly be hiring, because this would be a best time to hire as well. So
Yeah.
if you do this exercise, again, irrespective of what is the time, I mean, I luckily did it before this whole crisis struck. But even if you do it now, I think you will know which customers to keep, which customers to serve, and also categorize them, right? Because you also need to identify who are the great customers to keep, who are your lifeblood. Again, who are the great people to keep inside the company. Because if you don't have this different gradation, and when you have to take a call either on the customer side, that you cannot serve so many customers because you don't have people, or people are not able to come to work, or on the other side, when you are talking about, I don't have enough work, so I don't need so many people, so I need to let some people go. If you do not know which people to let go or which client to let go, it will be very difficult. And by mistake, if you let the right people, the good people go, or the good clients go, then your business will have a double hit on your business. I mean, and that can.
So it's all about cutting fat and preserving muscle,
No, but
both on.
also knowing where to cut the fat from. You cannot cut the fat from your face, so you need to figure out where you cut the fat. You have to cut the fat from possibly your belly if you are adding up that.
So we have got few questions. Let me take that question at this point of time from Naman. Naman, I will just enable you so you can ask live. Just a second. Just raise your hand, Naman, and I will put you on. Anil Kaliwala is also there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man, you can speak now. Yeah, Naman. Yeah. Go on.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. Hello, Pallav sir, Abhishek sir, and Alok sir. So now we are in a time of crisis, and there's a lot of uncertainty about the spread of the virus, and it is affecting our daily decision making. And we have to act fast in this time of crisis, but it mostly leads us to make short-term decisions. So my question is, in this critical time, how can we make better decisions?
Okay, so this is simple framework that I'm using at least, Naman. So first of all, it's a health crisis. Any decision which affects the health of anybody, which is either you, your employees, your partners, or vendors, that's a very simple one. Will I endanger somebody? It's a simple yes and no binary decision. Second decision is very simple. about survivability. If I do, let's say if I'm building a new product, but and I don't know the future of that, but if I cut that, my existing business, it helps me add, let's say 6 months of runway to my existing business. I will probably cut that product right away and get that extra 6 months of runway, because survival is the key. It's going to be the last man standing. Anybody who comes out of this stronger and is still standing and still has demand for their products, they will grow much faster after this crisis is over. And the third is a sustainability part of it. Sustainability is, these are some places where, let's say the example I give, should I cut this product right now or not? That again depends on the capital that you have, how well capitalized you are. If you think that you cut this product while you have the money, but this product is something which would have given you growth once you come out of survival mode, in that case, the decision is more nuanced. Can I afford to still have that 12 months of runway while building this product? When do I get that revenue? So there again, you can look at it as essential and non-essential development. Essential is something which is about, let's say, something which gets money to you from the customers, keeps existing customers happy, helps you potentially get some new customers. But if it's a shot in the dark saying, hey, this is a romantic idea, because let's say the CEO said, or somebody else in the senior management said, basically hippo, then you're like, no, this is something we don't want to do. So basically laser sharp focused on the outcome of that in this particular framework that I use.
I think, it is, again, there are two thoughts that I have. One is that you have to also differentiate between need and want. So a lot of time, as founders and CEOs, we want a lot of things because we want the company to look great. We want everyone to feel great about us. So I think you need to figure out what do you really need here and focus on the need, because that is what, will take you forward in this market, in this scenario. Second is obviously, you need to have that data dashboard to see, and you have to be very clear. You don't want too many data because you will not be able to keep up to date with all the data inside your company on a daily basis. You have to have your data of the key aspects, like what is generating most revenue for you, what is eating up your money. So mostly, on the accounting side, you have to have a literally daily dashboard which has to be put up. Accounts is just the face of the entire organization. It basically culminates how the organization is behaving at a given point of time, right? And you have to look at that to take the core decisions. Last but not the least, I think, until and unless you really know what your overall goal is, right, your long-term decisions cannot happen. The short-term situation will continually distract you in the wrong direction. You must have a clarity of what your long-term one single goal is. Once you figure that out, at least you will be able to keep the whole organization aligned to it. It might distract a little bit because of the circumstances you are in. It might slow down. So my view is that, we should not deviate. We can slow down if required. We can even stop, but we should not deviate in the wrong direction. So you must know that overall direction that you want to, move into and achieve. That's just my.
Thanks, Abhishek. So, Pallav, this is to you. I mean, since you have built a massive product from India and scaled it, and and you would have seen difficult cycles like these earlier, also in 2008, 2012. So, what's your view on a particular point, in a sense that you're developing a product? So, should you continue to develop and add more features at this point of time, or you should go to market with whatever MVP you have at this point of time?
So it depends on two different aspects here, Alok. So one is, if you have an existing product, each existing product where they have customers, you have a backlog of feature request. That could be either customer driven, that could be driven by your entire internal product management saying, hey, this is a new feature we want to do. Or third is the competition, where you say competition has this feature and we want to build it. In times like this, I think we cut the last two buckets. We are like, if it's an internal race feature or just to catch up with the competition, we are not going to do, because right now the core focus is ensure that customers' problems are solved, because they will then continue to pay for the product, and you are essentially releasing some of the resources to work on some of the other things, whether it's product design or engineering. If it's a new product, like in our case as well, 2008, we released a bunch of new products which were asked by customers. So because in times of recession, everybody gets more data driven, which means you need to build dashboards, which means you need charts. So people said, hey, we need this chart, we need that chart. So we released a bunch of other products which help them convert the data to dashboards. So those were requests that we got from customers saying we need to do this. So as of now, if you are an existing business with existing product, stick to product features which are driven by customers and ensure that you have a lower churn of customers, or that definitely helps you get another customer who's a prospect already into the pipeline or move ahead in the pipeline. If you are a product which is pre-market fit, I think it's going to be the most difficult, because unless you have talked to customers, you know what exactly they want, and unless you've got a first check, basically you're shooting in the dark. And now with limited amount of runway and sort of near zero funding being released to companies who are so early in the market, it's going to be slightly difficult. So again, everything boils down to, do you have a customer? Is he willing to pay money for it? stick to that plan, ensure survival, then go for the romantic bets.
Thanks, Pallav. Abhishek, if you are servicing a client and that client requires additional features and additional uh, work which you want to do, but at this point of time you are not sure whether you want to build something for just one client or you want to scale that up, what you would do? I mean, at this point of time.
Again, from our consulting perspective, also as a company, we have taken a stance where we at least put an advisory to the client that, is it a need or a want, right? If it's a pure want, we dissuade client from doing that. If it's a proper need, then we definitely take it up and we try to build that feature for the client. We are not a product company, we are a service company, but here we take kind of a little bit of a product approach, because we do not want clients to invest into things which are not going to help them in long term and which are not going to help their business, because at the end of the day their survival is what leads to our continuous business. So we will not advise them on anything which is not going to benefit them in long term.
Yeah, okay. I'm just taking one question here from Sriram. Sriram, I have enabled you. You can speak now. You're live.
Uh, uh, Sir, can you speak after some time, please?
Okay, that's fine. Okay, okay.
Okay.
Sriram also requested Pallav to speak little slowly.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try and do that. Trust me, this is not the first time I've been asked to do that.
Okay, so we're moving
I'm
further.
sorry for that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So, taking things further, coming back to the earlier point. So once you have decided that maybe you have to take tough decisions in terms of you want to lay off some of the employees, or you want to say no to your customers, you want to do things which are difficult. How do you communicate? I mean, how do you communicate bad? How do you transmit bad news to your employees or to your customers? At times it's very difficult. So what's your experience in this?
Simple transparency. Tell them this is happening. See, this is a time where it's an unprecedented time. Everybody knows what is happening. People are understanding that this needs to be done. That being said, layoffs are one of the most difficult things for an entrepreneur or a founder, because you built the thing with a lot of care, took a lot of time as well, blood and sweat. And to the largest extent that you can avoid that. I mean, there are multiple ways to cut cost. Look at all your vendors, call them up, explain to the vendors that, hey, you're going to either delay the payment, cut some payment. In some of the agreements, you will also find force majeure clause, where that you get a like free rent for the amount of lockdown or these kind of things. Your software vendors are willing to give you a discount. So anybody who's in a see, we are also customers of somebody. So all the vendors that we have, they are also facing that time. We are facing that time. In the entire value chain, everybody is facing this. So the more you're able to communicate transparently, set the goals out and say, my intent is right. I'm willing to do this, and this is what I'm proposing. Everybody is willing to do that. Now, in cases of layoff, I think one of the most important thing for, on a humanitarian angle, is avoid layoffs till the point you can. Take salary cuts, take pay cuts, like freeze your increments. See, for some of the people who have money in the bank, can you tell them, hey, I am putting your 6 month salary on hold, but I'll pay it once things are over, so that people who need more, like somebody who needs that money to pay the EMIs or put food or send children to school. I mean, not that they're going to physical school right now. So there are different ways to do it. But the most important thing is transparently communicating this and having a very fair practice. You can't be unfair to one particular person and give a better choice to somebody else. So, and everybody has to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Empathy, I think empathy in communication, the proper reasoning of what you are doing and why you are doing, even if your reason may be wrong, because you can always never be right, but at least you are thought through the decision, why you are taking the decision. Empathy in communication. So don't ask the way Trump asked for medicines from Modi, right? So you please give us the medicine, and if you don't, then we will do retaliation. Don't do that kind of behavior. And I think, be transparent that this is the situation of the business and this is how we are trying to solve it, and we need your cooperation. So again, we have found that there has been two kinds of problems which is coming from customers mostly. One is about issue around cash flow. So a lot of customers are facing challenge with cash flow. They are saying that, I am finding it difficult. I'm not getting into losses. I will not incur huge losses. I can respect my outstanding. I can respect my dues. but I don't have a cash. I have a cash flow issue. So that is one situation. Second is that their business is so hardly hit that they will actually incur huge losses. And if they cannot strike out a particular amount from your bills, then they will not survive. So I think both these customers, you have to understand what is the real problem of a customer. And based on that, you have to take a call. So for example, we have found that the customers who will not survive if they don't get a discount on their bill, we see the relationship history that we have got with that customer, and we are giving them a good discount. That, okay, we are giving you a discount for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. We will continue this discount. You survive. We don't want to make money. We are investing back into your business for X number of months. And then you can again come back to the original pay. Now, there are customers who may not be very old, or who are even old, but they don't have a profit problem. They have a cash flow problem. So there we have found a very innovative way to handle things. We are asking them to pay 35 to 50% upfront right now when we raise the invoice, and the rest of the money becomes due over next 6 months, not right now, starting after 6 months from now. So this means that they have got a payment deferral of almost 1 year, right? So they only have to pay 35 to 50% now, and remaining 50 to 65% they pay starting from 6 months from now for another 6 months. So it becomes easy on them, so they can stick along and they can continue their obligations and they can continue their contracts. So this has helped us, and kind of we have made these as two basic formulas. And the third one, of course, is that, customers who just want to take advantage of the scenario, and you can also figure it out. Again, it's not rocket science, right? And you speak to that person and say, I can't do it. I mean, I'm sorry. So let's just pause the service for now, and we will restart when things are good for you.
So the mantra is to be transparent and renegotiate and see what you can do. Talk to your clients, talk to your employees. Vibhu wants to ask a question. Vibhu, you can ask. I've just enabled you. Hi, Vibhu. You're there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear
Hello,
you.
can you hear me?
Yeah, Vibhu.
Okay. Evening all. Great to be here. I just wanted to check, in times like this, does it make more sense to concentrate on cash flows or profitability? As in, if I can get more orders at a lower profit margin, should I go in for that, or is profit still supreme looking at the conditions right now?
That's a great question. Abhishek, you want to take?
Sure, I can. So again, I think it depends upon, to some extent, it depends upon your business ethos, what you want to follow. But I think at this point of time, if you have a decent expense to follow, if your company has got a decent expense structure, right, cash flow will become very critical.
Yeah.
So I think you should focus on cash flow, but not a loss-making cash flow for sure, because a loss-making cash flow doesn't take you anywhere. Right? But again, your company, let's say your company is a software product company, for example, right? Your total expense is only, let's say, 25-30% of your total cash flow, right? In that case, you can kind of focus more on, you can let go the cash flow part. You can, you can let go the margins, and you can focus on the cash flow only then. Sorry, then you can focus on the profits. I'm confused. I'm sorry.
Actually, I have a manufacturing unit.
Yeah. So manufacturing unit, definitely you need to focus on cash flow, I'm sure.
So Vibhu, you are from which city?
Okay, all right. I'm from Delhi, and
You're
but
from
my
Delhi.
manufacturing unit is in Faridabad. We make high. I'm from Delhi.
Okay, Vibhu. My views on my views on this can be very simple. I mean, if you can recover your variable cost, you may think about cash flows, because fixed cost you can think about fixed cost maybe once this situation improves. I mean, that's something which I can think of. Uh, uh, Ranjan ji from Kolkata wants to ask. Ranjan ji, so he's saying, I will just enable you. Just a second. So we've got people from Delhi, we've got people from Mumbai. Yes, Ranjan ji, you can speak now. Hello?
I think he's on mute.
You have to move his mute.
Okay, we can move forward. I mean, so what he was asking is that companies may be struggling with cash flows to pay employees. What is the suggested way to improve on this, considering we will have this crisis at least for 3 to 6 months? This is what he was asking.
I think first is to not be so optimistic that it's only going to be for 3 to 6 months. We don't know. So taking a bet that it's going to be 3 to 6 months and then making a decision based on that, I think that might hurt more after 3 to 6 months. So conservatively put 12 months, do evaluate on a monthly basis. B, there is no easy way out here. So if you have access to capital, which could be debt, I mean, some of the debt funds like so if you're a product company and you've been showing good revenues, right now what the government is figuring out, can they give a loan? Like in US, they have the PPP, which is payroll protection program, where they're giving 2.5 times your payroll money to you as a loan or a grant. Government of India is trying to figure out, SIDBI is trying to figure that out. Can banks give you based on your credit history? Can venture debt give you like this, Altiria Capital, Trifecta Capital? There are a couple more, Indify, whole bunch of those there. Though the only thing is all of them would be bombasted with a whole bunch of companies who are essentially reaching out. Then again, there are industry bodies like, let's say, SAS Bhumi or NASCOM. They are also trying to put out these small funds. I think because we are still too early into this, some of these announcements have not been made. So there is going to be money available over the next 2 to 4 weeks. To what quantum, in what disbursal mechanism, all of those people are trying to figure out. That is on the external side. On the internal side, again, like it's mentioned, so you can save money from vendors, either figure out a way to work with them. There might be vendors who are profitable, who have a cash flow, and they might be willing to give you a furlough of 3 to 6 months. Talk to them. If you've been a vendor for long, nobody wants to lose a good customer. B, obviously you can ask for discounts from your SaaS companies, SaaS vendors or software companies, rent-free period from your landlords, see if there's a force majeure clause, all of those things. With employees, see if for some of the employees, you can say, hey, for 3 to 6 months, we are only paying you 30% or 50%, but the rest of it will pay it back to you, or maybe convert that to equity in the company. So all of those are viable options. See, right now, everybody's looking for survivability. So whatever helps you get out of this is something which is the most important thing. But let's not be too optimistic saying it's going to be 3 to 6 months. Let's keep a realistic plan of 12 months. If things move better, then anyways you win, because then you have planned for the worst. If things get worse, then again, at least you are slightly better prepared than most. So given that it's going to be about the last man standing in certain industries, the person who emerges on the other side will come out much stronger.
That's true. I agree with you, Pallav. I think it will be more important to make sure that we are breaking even. So as long as you can break even, you have to do anything and everything that you have to do to get to the break even point. Especially when things suddenly take a big dip. And once you to reach the break even point, obviously, Pallav stated that you may have to ask people to take pay cut. Those situations can go very difficult in a difficult terrain. So one formula that I have been discussing with few of my industry friends is that why don't you reduce the pay to 25% from your side in cash, from your cash flow, give another 25% from the loan that you are taking from the banks, or from one of the by discounting your bills, or whichever way you can, right? Because you have bill discounting available, but you may have bills lying, but the bills may not get paid for some time, right? Especially if you are working in government, if you are working with large industries. And the remaining remaining 25%, you can actually get them funded by the banks. So you actually are giving 25% salary to your employees, but they can actually get up to 75% of the salaries, and they can continue to survive in long term. Because if they have to survive, if they need that minimum amount, then you have to support them with that minimum amount somehow. Just laying off everybody will actually get you into a, I would say, negative virtuous circle, where your business is continually going down and down and down. So every circle you will kind of take a step below where you were. So instead of that, you look at what are the best talent that you can keep in the company, how they can collectively come out of it, how you can use a combination of cash, loaned money, as well as you can get them extended loan, or you can pay for their interest rate, if nothing else, right? So you tell them that I can only give you 25%, but you can get loan and I will pay you for your interest cost. You can do tie-ups with nice fintech companies. You can do contract with NBFCs. Banks will be a little difficult beast to manage, but you can also do it with banks if nobody else agrees to you. And if you're not laying off, I think banks and all these companies will understand that these are good people, important people. That's why they are not being laid off. This means that their probability that these people will pay back is high. And think about it, how much the banks are loaning them. They are only loaning them 25% of the salary. This means that this is not a huge risk. Again, coming from working in banking sector, I can tell you, if this is a particular risk or a loan that banks will comfortably write. So look at this kind of an arrangement with your banker and see how you can actually make life easier for your employees, whereas not taking out money from your own cash flow.
Yeah. One of
So
the one of
one more thing, Alok, like one couple of people here are doing is loaning their employees. So if it's only about payroll, so let's say if you're a product company, right now you're not building more features. So you're basically saying, hey, I have this team available who has expertise in this. If anybody wants to hire them, they're still on my payroll on a consulting basis, let's say at even 80% of the payroll cost. So if other companies have need to do that, like you're basically outsourcing your product teams to do work for others, because as of now, you are basically not building new features. So that's something which has worked for a couple of entrepreneurs I know here in Bangalore.
Yeah, that's great. One of the easiest way to raise money through banks is the GST loan. I mean, if you are a GST filing GST regularly, it's very easier for you to get loan on GST. Uh, Now I want to move towards marketing and sales. So at this point of time, you may not be getting a lot of inbound leads. So what you should do? Should you go for outbound lead? What is the best way? And should you still spend on ads? One of the attendees wanted to ask you: should you spend on uh, getting leads, or you should continue to spend on branding? I mean, what's a trade-off between the spend and marketing and branding, maybe?
Your
So the
favorite
first
subject.
point, sorry, Abhishek, go ahead.
I'm saying your favorite subject. Go on.
Yeah. So one of the first things which you said that you might not get inbound leads, I don't think that is true at all. Like at Fusion Charts, even though we have exited, we're still getting continuous stream of inbound requests, and we're also closing new sales. Though what might have changed is the velocity of sales cycle. Like probably now it's taking more time, maybe the average selling price. But if your product actually helps somebody else run his business, everybody is still trying to run their business. So if you were a vitamin, then probably you might not get leads, in which case like you're probably going to spend on branding, you might not have good unit economics. But if we are in B2B sector, our business is based on some servicing somebody else's business through delivery of technology, whether it's a software, whether it's a service. Very simple out there. So if suddenly your leads have stopped, I'll first question, why have leads stopped? Is this an industry which is deeply affected? In which case, even if you spend more, whether it's on leads or on branding or outbound sale, none of that is going to help you, because those industries are just not buying. If it's not the case, if customers are still using it, then if your leads have stopped, I think there might be some other tactical issue. Because let's say I can take my example, people are still using charting, they're still building dashboard. I don't see a reason for leads to suddenly stop. It might drop a little bit. People might delay their sales cycle, in which case I may choose to spend more on ads, because ads cost are lower right now, which is again performance ads. As long as I see that I'm still able to make more than $1 on the dollar that I have spent on my LTV. Very simple. On the brand side, it's again a function of, like, if I'm in a sector which is getting positively affected because of COVID situation, let's say like tech or gaming, this might be a good time for me to invest in the brand, given that a lot of these slots are going to be much cheaper. But unless you are in that particular category, at least my approach would not be to spend on brand. And in B2B, everything is measurable. So especially in the digital world. So if it's helping you get ROI, if it's helping you get leads which convert to customers, by all means, go ahead and spend. In fact, it's one of the better times to do marketing and ads right now, if your business is still stable in that sense.
Because the cost to put your ads on Facebook and LinkedIn is much lesser at this point of time.
Not just that, all your demos are also online. So anybody who signs up, they have time to say, get on a Zoom call. So your timeline between a lead generation and getting one of your inside sales reps on a Zoom call is very fast.
Completely agree with that.
You cannot say I am traveling.
Yes.
I think right now it's always there. So marketing and sales, frankly speaking, is not going to change much. Obviously, certain dimensions will change, like people may not be traveling, so you can get hold of them. People may have a little bit more attention span, because if they have not much to do in particular industry and you are doing something which is related to survival of the business, then definitely they will pay attention. But two things I think will always be very important is word of mouth. And I think this is a great time to get word of mouth. People are getting more empathetic, they are getting more human, I would say, rather. So I think if you have done great for someone, they are more than happy to talk about you, give your speak good about you. So I think you should definitely try to get good word of mouth. And also I think you should also look at the right product, right people, and outbound will work, in my opinion. Because outbound, I have found that if you really want one of those 20 companies companies that you feel that your service will help them in this market scenario, they will not necessarily come to your inbound marketing, right? So I think you need to do a combination of inbound and outbound, where inbound is continually engaging them online, whereas outbound is basically doing the first outreach, getting them interested, continually getting your message across to them. So don't underestimate outbound. It works great, and especially in B2B, definitely it's the way forward.
Thanks, Abhishek. Uh, one thing which I wanted to ask, because both of you are actively investing in startups, is what is your advice to startups at this point of time? I mean, they're trying to raise money. They're in two minds, whether to continue to build or to abort. I know it's very case specific, but on a generic note, what's your advice to startups who are trying to raise money maybe a couple of months back? I know few of the startups who were able to raise money in December, January, but now, I mean, what's your advice, and what you would have done if you would have started at this point of time?
So if I'm a pre-revenue startup right now and I don't have any existing investors, it's going to be very difficult to raise money unless I've sold a couple of companies before and VCs are already knocking on my door to take the money. Most of the VCs are currently conserving capital first to help their existing companies for follow-on round. So while they may say that it's business as usual, there's already a disruption of how VC meetings are taking place over Zoom. B, they want to be slightly conservative right now with spending money on newer companies. They want to sit and wait it out at least for 3 to 6 months, and see again they want to conserve that money for their existing portfolio companies, which have also taken a big hit as well. So raising money in this environment is going to be extremely difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be extremely difficult. So if you're a pre-revenue startup, I would say go and find customers. That's the first and most important source of money you need for survival. And that itself, if you get enough customers and you get money from them, that opens the door to funding, because investors want companies who have customers and who have product market fit.
Abhishek?
Yeah, again, I think investment will definitely take a big backseat. I think people's priority are changing right now. And again, but I think there will be very specific ventures that will come out that will still get funded. Like EdTech is getting funding massively at this point of time, because a lot of education is moving online. I mean, things that were not being considered in practical a few months back, suddenly all the schools are now jumping on that bandwagon. So I think this industry will get funded. But people, and I think most of this funding will happen through people who are actively investors, who are very active investors, for who do investing for their, livelihood, right? So for people like me, and maybe some other entrepreneurs, it will not be like investing will not be a priority at this point of time. It will be the priority to run their own business, to look after their own people, to look after their own clients. And definitely, if there is a massive opportunity that comes up, maybe 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, then they might look at investing.
Yeah. So what I get from VC investors is that 2020-21, it's your year. You survive. If you're able to survive, come and talk to us on 1st April 2021.
Well, the message is very clear then.
So I have a question from Subhankar. Subhankar, I've just put you on. You can speak now. Hi, Subhankar.
Hi. Hi, Pallav. Hi, Abhishek. Hi, Alok.
Hi.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Please.
Yes. See, I'm trying to put up a very industry-specific question. Since I come from a tourism industry, so and we were into B2B. So we had our say B2B clients mostly in the northern India, and the issue is, since we got into this API business, and it is we are quite new into it, and it has been just like somewhere over 1 year. So I'm being very direct, very specific about it. So now the issue is that we don't see tourism again getting up even after the lockdown is over. So it will take some very good time to actually gain its space. And there would be some major skeptics in the market that will keep the customers away from the bay. So the thing is, being an investor, I invested in a new business. We were into offline. We started doing online. We started building the business. We spent a lot. So now I see it from two different perspectives. One is that I invest any further to maintain the existing business, shall incur further losses, because I don't see ROI coming up any close, by this year end or even by the next year mid. So what is actually suggested? Is it a good idea to invest in a business or in a market which surely looks, it looks for a long time down, it's good to see a long time down. So of course, or is it good to have, to take a step back and again reframe the entire thing up? Or is it too early to be so afraid of it?
I mean, I think you should lie low and cut down your expenses for now. And once this whole thing gets over, you have to kind of start thinking, understanding when this thing starts going in a positive direction. I think once it gets in a positive direction, there will be a huge flood of people who would love to go for vacations. And I think you should prepare for how would you handle that, right? How would you handle the whole process? Maybe you can spend your time figuring that out. And when that whole rush comes, you should make the most amount of money from that. If I would be you, I would do that.
Okay.
And one more thing, I don't know enough about your business, but I'd also find opportunities to make revenue from, let's say, some of the pivots that you can make. If you have existing customers or existing data, like you said, you're an API business, where can tourism industry or tourism data fit into some of the other businesses which are not affected? It might be slightly different from what you're doing right now. But the first approach, which you said, is plain gambling. Let's roll the dice and see what happens. We don't know whether it's 12 months, 18 months. Will people have the psychological safety to even travel, even if we contain the virus?
Exactly.
So why then roll the dice? Because if you're unsure of, because it's not something which is in your control, and it's a macroeconomic factor, it's a global scale factor, it's a humanitarian crisis.
Exactly.
Then why roll the dice on this? So you roll the dice. So you either roll the dice on the market or you roll the dice on the execution. Here you're rolling the dice on both. That's a double whammy you might face later.
Right.
Thanks, Subhankar. Now let me talk about work from home. And Abhishek, since you have implemented work from home for more than 600 people the last 2 to 3 weeks, please share your experience in doing that. It will be helpful to all of us, including me. What has been your 3 top points in terms of putting everything and enabling work from home for your employees?
I think most important is your IT system, your own IT system. How do you have a system by which you can manage your entire productivity of the company? If you don't have any system, then it will become very, very difficult. Uh, you know, Second is that we have realized recently only after struggling for 2 weeks that every week, if you have a one-on-one call between the supervisor and the next level guy, that works like magic, where you kind of set the expectation for the next whole week. So initially we tried to do a daily stand up and a daily call out that what are they planning to do. And it was almost like a hellish experience to manage that, because you can't really keep track of it. And frankly speaking, by the end of the day, I was just approving anything and everything that the guys were sending in their daily reports. So I stopped the daily report. I have kind of moved to a weekly report, which is working much, much, much better. And it's not just a report. We get on a call to discuss what worked, what didn't work, and how did you perform. And in fact, we get a lot of time to even talk about other things in their life, because I think everyone is going through a very difficult phase. So once this started working, I also have kind of instituted that the guys should do the same thing with their next line. And this has started showing results. Uh, Last but not the least, I think most of the work at home, a lot of people are thinking about putting trackers or putting screen record. Frankly speaking, these things don't matter and these things don't work, right? We have found that giving people continuous motivation, engaging the people would be most important job to do. So we have in fact launched contests with prize money. We have, created, fun games. We have engaged people with quizzes. So we have done a lot of small, small things here and there where people kind of felt a part of the team, because the biggest challenge that you face is that people of this scale, when they come to office, they see 400 people around them or 500 people around them, right? And when they suddenly start working from home, there's nobody around them, and they find like if they are working alone, and they starts getting a little depressed over a period of time. So
Yeah.
first 4 days is great. They always wanted to work from home. Kaun office jayega, or work at home mil gaya permanently. So they're also so happy, right? But after third day, fourth day, everybody starts getting really, really gloomy. And then they start saying, I want to come to office. So we also do one weekly survey about how they are feeling about working from home, how their infrastructure is holding up, do they have enough work or not? And we also initiated a very interesting practice, from our HR, which is basically a daily connect point. So they are able to talk to every leader and try to see how the team is holding up. If required, they talk to someone who is not being able to work or not doing well, not necessarily to be scolding them, but to at least gather data from them and try to help them out in any possible way. And this also allows us to understand, and frankly speaking, we are finding more utilization of our team in certain cases, right? And we are also able to find out where the utilization is not proper. Earlier, when we were working from office, we were not paying attention to each individual at a level that we are paying now. So it takes some time. I think the first 2 weeks were like absolute hell for me. Now we are getting into a little bit of a shape, and I think it's a continuous learning process. There are a lot of books, there are a lot of articles written everywhere. I think you have to choose what works for you. I mean, you can experiment things for a couple of weeks and eventually you will find out what works for you.
Thanks,
On a lighter
Abhishek.
note, Alok, work
Yeah.
from home is only good when everybody else is working from office.
Absolutely.
Uh, so we have got 10 more questions to actually go about, but I think we will have the last question now and we will take it offline. So the last one, considering you both have built massively successful and sustainable business, what are the key three things which you want to advise businesses at this point of time? Start with Pallav.
So in light of the current times, I would say three things. The most important is stay healthy, both physically and mentally, whether it means working out in the home, picking a game which you can play within the confines of your home, meditation, play Xbox, PlayStation, anything, something where you are mentally and physically balanced. Second is find a support group. Everyone is going through shit. If you're an entrepreneur, there are other entrepreneurs, talk to them, be vulnerable. Like entrepreneurs are always like in the public, they're like, we are killing it, we are doing awesome. None of that is going to help because then you don't get help. So be vulnerable, talk to people, ask for feedback, share the pain because everybody's going through that. And I think third is, again, at this point in time, stay razor focused on survivability for 12 months. If you're able to survive for 12 months with whatever you're doing, your business will turn out stronger. Be like bunch of things that we talked about, getting internal processes better, removing technical debt, cutting down costs, figuring out newer ways to build products, newer customers, newer approaches, all of that. These are times where you will be questioning a lot of your core beliefs, core values, the things which you have sort of set in stone in the past, because the world is not going to be the same, or there's going to be a new normal. And the more you think about it and you're thinking it from a point of view of survivability, you're essentially creating a new company, a new core, which helps you wait through this. And once you come out on the other side, it's going to be much, much stronger.
Thanks, Pallav.
I think the first thing that you all have to understand and realize that if you are sitting on this webinar with your laptops or computers open and you are able to log in, this means that life has given you a lot, right? So you are in a much, much better position than 99% of the people in this world right now. So please stop cribbing about it. And I think you should be positive and, you should be thanking God for giving you lots of things that you may deserve, you may not deserve. We don't know. So I think,
Yeah.
keep the cool, chill out and, see what's happening around you. I think there's a great time to learn and observe. I think it's a great time to understand and try to figure out where the world is going to go from here. Even if it lasts for a year, as Pallav said, again, I was planning for 6 months, but Pallav has now stretched my imagination. So even if it lasts for a year, I think after a year, the world will definitely bounce back, right? And where the world will go, if you are not able to predict that, if you're not able to latch on to that next Zoom, right? I think that will be a bigger loss for you. I think that is very, very important that you figure that out. Maintain and build great relationships, learn something new, and obviously if your business is able to continually work and move and survive, work on that, work with your team, learn a lot of interesting things. You can experiment a lot of things because now your experimentation can be very fast. You literally have your entire office being run from your laptop now, because that's the constraint that you have been given. And I think constraints make you learn a lot of things. So I think those new skills that you will gain and your team will gain will go a long, long way. So I think, as I again said, throughout today's conversation, take everything in a positive way and try to find new opportunities from this.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks, Pallav. And we have learned a lot today. And I hope that you had a great time. We will come back again. Yeah, Abhishek.
Sorry. I think I'll shift my position from Abhishek to president of TiE Kolkata here. What I would suggest is that I know a lot of entrepreneurs are going through very difficult times and a lot of questions are unanswered. I can see here 9, 10 questions are unanswered. I'll be more than happy to do some kind of, every 2 or 3 days, we can do a half an hour session of TiE members or any entrepreneur who want to come on board. I'm more than happy to support in whichever way I can, either bring in people or connect people, or at least show them the direction or connect them to someone who can answer their questions. I think that will also make a nice support group. So it will be like open discussion format. You can do that. I'll ask Abranila to arrange that. It is not necessary that it has to be me or Alok or anyone from TiE leadership to be available here. I think you can do it. But again, we will try that at least one of the leadership member is available for at least that half an hour to initiate some discussion, so that you all feel positive and you try to figure out answers among yourself. If you all
Thanks,
want, you can try to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. That's very much needed. So thank you all. We had a great time, and thanks, Pallav. By the way, congrats to Pallav for a successful exit. We
Thank
all
you.
love to bootstrap and scale our companies, but we now need to learn how to exit also from you. So
Sure.
that's a
Happy to
great,
help.
yeah. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Take care.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Alok. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.